Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and thanks for stopping by. Our dedicated team will guide you through with the latest updates and theories at Starbase, Texas. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon for future streams.
9, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff.
G'day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all around the world, friends and families. Welcome to RGV Aerial Photography Starbase Weekly, episode 176. I'm Stephanie B. I'll be driving for you today, and we've got our regular Alex. G'day, Alex. How you going?
Good, Steph and BJ and Matt and Alex and everybody who's listening. You should have a fun show today. So back to you, Steph.
And yep, as you mentioned, we've got BJ. How you going, BJ?
Thanks, Stephanie. Welcome, everyone. Great time to look at some new photos of exciting things happening around the sites.
And we've got a new commentator today to do the questions and donations with Alex, also known as Chaz Bombing. G'day.
Hi, Stephanie. Happy to be here.
Okay, and as you can see, we had some amazing weather again this week for aerial photography flight. And well, with that, we'll go and start over at Massey's. So I might go and start up at the flame trench as per usual. So this week sees a fair bit of development on the gantry side of things. We see we've got our SQD in place, and not a big fan of the straps, but there we go. We've got the straps to hold the flex hoses again. A little bit of temporary platforms, a little bit of temporary walkways here. I guess the flex hoses will end up going in that gap there once they get all that set up. Once again, we can see we have the clamps. Everything looks fairly ready. Looks reasonably ready for a ship, but it won't be a while before they need this for static firing, obviously, as they don't really have a ship just quite yet.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. One thing we haven't seen yet, with all the new clamping hardware, that we still haven't seen anything for RVAC statifier supports yet, which should be kind of the last major element for at least the ship-related stuff.
True.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
we saw them. We saw them removed, didn't we, recently?
Yeah, it's interesting with the new clamping layout, since the old RVAC supports were in line with some of those.
Yeah, the new geometry with the clamps. There's a change in the gap between some of the clamps. They've rotated just 2 of them or 4 of them. They've moved around a little bit.
Yeah, the center sections are wider than the opposite end.
There's not much change here in these boxes back here. I'm wondering if that's as far as the shielding's actually going to go. But now I said that, surely they'll cover the rest of them.
I didn't see a lot of those plates on the ground this week.
Yeah, the side plates kind of got finished on the right one, and I think the right side of the middle hadn't been done. I was trying to remember if those crossbars that are across the top, if they were there last week or not.
I don't believe they were yet.
I'm wondering if they're just sort of some protection just for the entry-exit holes here. Exit, I guess it's exit, I suppose. Depends if it's tanking or detanking. But yeah, these access holes here, maybe it's just to protect them more than the actual plumbing. So should we ever get an exciting event ever again, they don't get explosion going down into the actual bunker.
Yeah, now they have a channel to channel right in. Ever the
Channel.
optimist. If they don't. The roof's
Okay,
a
we
full
see
floor.
they've poured the roof on top of the bunker. Looks like a nice strong slab. I thought we might see some of that steel left behind, but obviously we don't.
It looks like there's weld plates along the front edge. That's all steel, but the edge right, if to the left and down, yeah, right where your hand is, on the front face, yeah. There's this right below the roof, yeah, right there. There's looks like a row of plates.
Did you just do on my left then?
Yeah, I can't tell if
Indeed.
it's that or if that's just some patched holes from where they maybe they had, since that had formwork on there, they may have just secured the formwork to the concrete there, and now it's just filling in the anchors.
Yeah, I was trying to go back and forth on that because it seems like a large patches for that, but we will see quickly
Yeah.
because they're small for weld plates.
Group of vans here, I'm not sure which way they're fitting out. I guess they're fitting out the electrical bunker rather than the fluids bunker, because it's fluids bunkers, as far as I know, is mostly finished.
I think if you zoom in, you can see there's a lot of control cables on the ground. Oh, it's a fluid bunker.
Ah, gotcha.
I think, yeah, I think those are the control folks.
So the high pressure, I guess you call them plumbers. They probably wouldn't like to be called plumbers. The high pressure pipe technicians are probably finished now. Electricians are in to wire it all up.
Industrial control. It's that gray line between electricians and pipe fitters.
Well, we are fitters. They call us electrical fitters when we're electricians. Well, I was anyway. Electrical fitter mechanic back in the day. Boy, that was a long time ago. Now, they've run the Lux line out here, put their little Y at the end. It doesn't appear like they're going to concrete this yet. I was really hoping to see a lot of concrete. I guess one day we'll finally get to see some concrete down here.
Ever.
I suppose it doesn't really need concrete. Would that erode or would that sort of freeze the soil solid, the liquid? I suppose
Freeze
there's eventually some liquid coming out there, eh?
and it'll just boil away.
Yeah. It looks like quite a few people got a notice of the early show. We're doing an early show today because of the new Glen launch coming up. So we're trying not to interfere with that. Okay, a bit of a zoomed out shot here. We'll have a quick look at the blast wall. You can see they've got their formwork up. Last week there was a couple of these little risers of rebar sticking up down here. Now there's obviously lots of rebar mesh here ready to go. Is that made mesh or is that it is, isn't it?
No, that's actual.
Yeah, they made
Rebar.
that inside. Yeah, it's rebar and built there on site. Kind of looks like wire mesh, but it's not.
Yeah. So is that the only set of formwork they got? They'll just move the formwork along by the look of it. Yeah.
Yeah, just like the launch site. It looks like they got enough to do about it. Do it in thirds or so.
Yeah. It may even be the same crew.
Yeah, they're just tying the rebar curtains and lifting the entire mess in one go, it looks like.
I see a bit sticking out at the end here. Okay, very good. I don't think there's much going on elsewise. I do notice a lot of the cryo pipe plumbing we saw at the top of the site disappeared. It's all nice and tidy up that into the site.
Yeah, a lot of that got moved to the gantry.
The gantry's looking fairly plumbed now. Looks like we've got the main cryo lines. I was actually surprised to see a LOX drain on. I sort of imagine we might see that get reclaimed, but obviously not. Okay, moving over to the methane farm. It's largely ready to go as well.
Oh.
I think last week we saw the week before we saw electrical come in for the pumps. Looks like a lot of that valve gear down underneath here looks like it's all plumbed in. A lot of the lines are run. Looks pretty well. All the lines are run. We're still at this little piece of pipe to hook in here for the methane return to hook into the reclamation system. Looks like they're going to bring methane gases back from both sides, back around this way, and also from the flame trench back that way into the reclamation system / burner system. Oh, the high pressure stuff seems pretty well finished.
There's still quite a bit to go. They haven't wired in all the controls yet.
The electrical still to go, yeah?
Yeah.
Hey, electricians. Always waiting on electricians, aren't you?
And then the engineers who program control systems.
There's another vent. It's going to go in somewhere over here. This part of you're saying there's a vent somewhere else, and you're saying it's to do with like if something fails that it'll vent. Would that be one of those sort of vents?
That looks like it's probably going to go with the vaporizer train.
Okay, cool.
They have two sets of those vents. They have the normal. Well, on the methane side, it's collected, but on the mostly collected, I should say.
So we've worked out we've got a liquid nitrogen line, a liquid methane line, and a methane return line, and they pop out of the trench down here. We can actually see a green label, wasn't it, for nitrogen? Blue, sorry.
White writing on a blue field. Box is black on a white field.
Oh, so in Australia is the same. The black gas tanks are the LOX tanks. Like an oxyacetylene kit.
It's nice that the standards are being maintained.
Yeah,
For the
the,
longest time, the labeling system at the orbital farm was the older system.
yeah, although in Australia we follow the same gas colours, but our electrical colours are different. You have a black active, we have a black neutral, for instance. Okay, so methane farm, it's mostly ready. So I guess one little thing here is these reboilers here, whether they're going to go here or whether they're going to go over to the methane farm, where there was two. There's a spot for two more kettle reboilers over here, so still a bit undecided where they're actually going. I'm not
Well,
sure.
I think it's definitely one of the interesting things about that. It's definitely a question is that they brought the two top manifolds with them too, so it's really interesting because I don't think those manifolds would necessarily tie in, especially in either of the systems, because of the difference in exhaust manifolds.
This side is closer for them to put a reducer,
Yeah.
but
And they're on different ends too. On this methane, it's on the front end, and on the LOX, it's on the back end. Yeah.
just rotate.
Yeah.
I think those
Yeah.
are symmetrical.
Yeah, as long as the ports are all the same distance from each other, it's easily able to do that.
And the LOX farm, not a great deal going on here. There is I think it was last week, there was an overhead shot. There's still one of the Y pieces down here to hook in, and they've hooked on a little piece of pipe here. Which one is it?
The one with
This
the
one here.
gaskets on top of it.
Which does allow them to, you're saying, Alex, maybe run the old pumps in through the kettle boilers to go to the flame trench?
And
Or actually to the cryo stand?
yeah, it's to bypass the subcooling area.
So they can at the moment, by look at it, run the old pumps to do a cryo test for at least a booster, which is something that may happen sooner rather than later. We can see the SPMTs, which are a good segue to go into the booster stand. See SPMTs here, which one speculation is that they're here ready to bring the cryo stand back to the build site, ready for booster 18. And SpaceX said that we should see booster 18 out in a number of weeks rather than months. It's kind of nice to see SpaceX timeframe because Elon time sometimes is a bit inaccurate, you might say.
Optimistic.
Enthusiastic.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of cryostand, we can see thanks to BJ looking at this earlier today, we can see they've got the clamp, the beak's open here. And beside them, the bolts here, we think of the bolts in here that close the clamps. So BJ, looks like they've got to open them right up to get the booster in here and take the bolts out.
Yeah, I'm still trying to kind of understand how that bolt goes in there because one of the thoughts I had was that it screwed, that there was like threads in that back portion of the clamp mount and it just threaded in. But the more I look at those locking devices, for the lack of better words, so they don't even look like bolts. It almost doesn't look like they thread in through something. So it's like however they kind of interface between keeping that clamp forward and the actual housing is kind of confusing to me right now.
There's another word for Elon time, aspirational. Who was that by Dig Dug?
Yeah, indeed.
This week, there's one of the images, I'll try and find it. Might even be this one, no, but the last week the LOX lines, cryo line was actually disconnected and they had this line sitting here on the deck, so I guess they were doing testing and now that all seems to be finished and they've plumbed it all back ready for test mode. So things are getting finalised all over the place around Starbase. Is it this photo? No, one of these photos. Only a minor detail. Maybe this photo shows it. Yeah, I think this one shows it here, connected again now. Whereas last week it was just hanging down here under the platform. Okay, just while we're in the area, I might have a quick look at the ship static fire stand. This one may do. So they're still working on the ship stand. We still haven't seen them change the facehugger, the ship. A quick disconnect interface. They've got some massive actuators in here to test the thrust vector mounts. I'm assuming that's what they're for.
Yeah, it's interesting. Those actually almost those look like they're attached to different spots than those other 4 struts that we've been looking at the last weeks, unless it's just the angle is confusing me on where, because you can see the kind of those V-shaped struts that were what we were looking at last week.
Yeah, the V-shaped struts look like they're for positioning some.
I sort of need a bit more of a down shot. These almost look like they're going to... sometimes I'm a bit confused what they're actually going to hook onto. Sometimes they look like they're actually going to push on the engine mount sideways as if to simulate the side loading on the actual engine mounts. But
That's
sure.
Yeah, because if you look at that one, you just had your hand on, you can actually see the tab that it's secured to is right out at the ring, which is definitely a different mounting position than than the TVC ones. So yeah, those almost look like they are, like you said, going out towards the gimbal mount to not stress the TVC mounts, but the actual gimbal position.
So I imagine when the engine gimbals, there'd be a fair amount of load, sideways load on the actual engine mount or the gimbal mount.
Yeah, I mean, that's the main load path, but you'd want that actuator to follow the potential arcs that they go in.
Yeah.
Which is kind of why I'd expect sort of a tripod-y arrangement.
Oh, what's that? Oh, that's one of those test frames for the rams. So maybe they were testing these rams out.
The calibrations, yeah.
There's actually another one there. Looks like it's similar with the rods along the length.
Yeah, that's one of the little bottle ones.
Cool.
You can see in this one, we can see too before we walk away that weird little 3-shaped pipe manifold is connected into one of those smaller lines that's coming over from the cable tracks.
Yeah, it looks.
Yeah, this whole system's a bit weird.
I'm
not sure what exactly is going on there. It doesn't. So it looks like it's not actually attached to the stand. Yeah, it looks like it's something that stays behind when you take the stand out, I guess.
Well, if you look inside in between the inner and the outer ring, you can see what appears to be to the left towards the QD mount. Yeah, that hole.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it comes across that way or not, but yeah.
It's interesting. Open to some speculation on what.
Yeah, and it's even standing up right there next to the RBAC. Yeah,
I think that's a LOX drain, the dump drain.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, and this will be a connection I can disconnect down here.
Yeah, that's what all of these sort of look like. They're all part of that.
It almost feels to me like that this is being kind of a one-off setup being made, maybe for Ship 39.1 test article to do without actually using the official like QD plate and hardware like that.
Yeah, it definitely is feeling very much like a test tank setup. Where they'll just
Test
weld the
tank,
connection.
test
Yeah.
tank 18, perhaps.
Yeah, and since we haven't really seen it, and since we've kind of noted a lot, I mean, the Super Crushers all is set up for booster. I mean, it seems like everything else that they've got is set up for booster. What are they going to test that ship article on? And really, this is the only option that presents any evidence to it. And it would make sense that before they fully retrofit it for version 3 ship, that it could be for a version 3 test article related to ship.
What's
Yep, so this isn't actually a quick disconnect. This is actually permanent just for now, and they'll SPMT the article down and crane it onto here, do the test, and then retrofit this out for the actual ship later on.
what's interesting is by the birdcage, it looks like there's more of those really large clevis mounts that, or I don't know if they're quite clevis, that they were welding onto the old can crusher for actuators. I don't know if they were there, if they're new or not. I spotted them. Yeah, by the yellow bollards.
Oh yeah, up at the top there.
Yeah, I don't know if those are new or not, but with all the retros going on, it's like, huh. Because those look like they're freshly line bored.
More actuators, man. There's so many actuators this time around with the testing. They're really going to town with the testing this time around.
Well, I'm just, to BJ's theory, I'm wondering if those are going to go to the that test stand, which is
Yeah, I like that idea, BJ. This is actually the for test tank 18. It's actually probably the best idea I've heard yet for that.
39.
Especially considering this.
Yeah, it's both. Test Tank 18 is one of the other names for the 39.1. It's kind of a, do you call it by its ship number or just a generic test tank number?
Yeah, 39.1. Yeah, I was confused for the longest time thinking they're actually two different articles, but I was yesterday years old. I learnt they're actually the same thing.
Yeah, it's shy. It goes into the factory a lot.
Okay, quickly around the front. Not a lot to report around the front. Cybertruck. But haven't seen or done much on what do you call this? 18.1? No. 18.3.
Yeah, 3. Or Test Tank 19. I think Test Tank 19 is one of the other formal names for that particular article.
Oh, don't go confusing me. What? Here we got some new steel here. Adding that or taking it away? Maybe adding.
I think they're removing that old clamp interfaces.
Yeah, you'd imagine. Yeah.
And that's and buys a new cap. Structural cap. There's building another one of those welding ring interfaces.
Well, that photo.
I mean, it works.
So that's the stand they built. Don't look there because I haven't centered it. Yeah, that's the stands they used to build this, which they finished this week, and taken out the center transport steel, which was obviously for the transporting, like you said, BJ.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see. It looks like they made quick work of that welding too, given the all those weld seams are all painted already. Even.
Yeah, I got all excited for all the welders here, thinking that they may use this for the new test tank, but no, I think you're more accurate using the ship cryo stand, actually. So, just going back to the ship cryo stand, that means they don't need to hook up the QD if they're going to use this nitrogen system in here, perhaps.
Well, and given the fact that nitrogen, I think that's the nitrogen. I keep forgetting which one of those two lines on the racks is LOX versus nitrogen, but they've totally bypassed it over to there. instead of sending it to the QD, which is kind of what since even what 3-4 flyovers ago, when that first kind of had that piece added to it, started having me give those questions. Okay, well, what are they changing in terms of these initial tests with that stand? And it seems like the likelihood of it being for a test stand or for that test article makes even more sense nowadays.
That one's locks on that side. And yeah, I think. Hang on, locks.
Yeah,
no,
locks
not-
is the left. Yeah, locks is the left-hand side, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so locks is still hooked up to the QD. Nitrogen's the line that's being put over, which would be the logical sense for a test article testing.
Yep. So we did see a QD plate on the new test article, but obviously it's not going to hook up to that. So maybe it's just there for show on this new test article rather than anything else.
It wouldn't take that long to swap that out.
True. We can't actually see a new QD anywhere, can we? It's not that, is it?
No. The only one so far is the one on the hot fire stand.
Right. So, oh no, it was at Sanchez. Wasn't looking for. So down here, there's a little bit of conduit work going on. Where is that? This image will do. A little bit of conduit work going on here. Looks like some risers over here. Kind of looks like a transformer pad, maybe over here to feed this building, perhaps. Yeah, nothing really exciting. The front building, they've got some of the air handling units mounted, and there's some more over here. A little grid fin shaped things aren't here anymore. We'll see them later on at Sanchez. But now we've worked out what they are.
He did or didn't?
We did. And it's actually related to Massey's, but the hardware is still at Sanchez. So we'll talk about it in a minute.
Okay, so Alex B will run across some questions, and not sure about donations, but the questions at least. Have we got Alex? We seem to have lost Alex, the other Alex. Okay, let's have a quick look through some questions here myself. Let me see, I did see one question. Is SpaceX said testing in days to weeks? What kind of testing and what article where? I think we just covered that with the Booster 18 getting its cryoproofing very soon.
Yeah, the days to weeks comment came from Kiko, who's vice president of launch, I think it is, at SpaceX, and his comments I think were related to Booster 18, but I wouldn't be surprised if Test Tank 18 isn't on its heels or even sooner.
Yeah, another question. Oh, we've lost. Oh no, it's all good. Another question. Does SpaceX Florida also need to build a Massey's type testing site there, or does it have one already? And with OLM placement at 39A, how far you guys do you think they're off from first launch at Florida? Part A, ship testing at Florida. What do you think there, Alex?
It will probably be on the OLM. I think all of the documents for 37 have their exclusionary circles origins at the launch mounts, which is the most official information we have on the subject. So we might see a crazy ship to booster stand like we just saw for 38 or 7, whatever the last ship was.
Another question. How much better will V3 boosters be versus V2, and what are the significant improvements? And will
What
that
do you think?
be an increased launch cadence?
The TLDR for that is it looks like it's almost a complete revision inside for the landing tanks and the methane transfer system.
And the
As
whole
well.
aft end, basically.
Yeah,
was also-
and no
also-
shielding. Most of the control is on the exterior raceway or in pipeway for the gas manifolds.
I was also just getting the metrics up from SpaceX themselves. The Raptor 3s have 50 tons per engine more than Raptor 2, and also have a significantly lower dry mass. So,
Okay, thanks. Next question.
when do you guys expect the next static fire is at Massey's?
Well, after test tank 18 comes here and goes back, and then the ship's got to come here to do its cryo test and go back. So if they're going to launch around January, February, March, I guess we should see static fire perhaps late in this year.
And finally, when do you guys think Booster 18 will roll?
I think we just discussed that, days or weeks.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
That's a new question. That's okay, Alex. Okay, with that, let's. Anything else to add here, BJ, to Sanchez?
Not here for Massey's. I think we're probably ready to move over there to Sanchez.
Sorry, Sanchez.
Yeah, that's all good.
It is early in the morning for me. Okay, let's start over at the booster end of the world, booster transport stand. So not much change this week with the booster transport stand. They still haven't inserted the new version 3 style clamps. They haven't removed the old ones from the site either. We do have an exciting development for this particular construction area, which we are believing it to be a new ship transport stand, in that we can see the parts for the new ship transport stand. Well, 4 of them at least. Which is, for me, that's particularly exciting. I've been dying to see a new ship transport stand for quite some time, because I don't like the old chain system they use.
Well, I think it's more than just the chains, but yeah, I mean the very rudimentary stands that initially were there, and to finally see them get kind of a little bit more mature on it is exciting to see.
Absolutely. Now, going back, we're just talking about Massey's and the grid fin shaped pieces of steel. We can see here that they're actually for the decking for the dance floor, for the static fire stand. We can actually see the centerpiece or part thereof here, which will have these wedges joined on, and then there'll be a triangle piece in here, which was pretty much the same as what we saw last time, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was the same kind of general layout of how that floor decking was formed and then put together.
Oh, I thought we were referring to something different, so. BJ, I got excited for nothing.
Sorry to mislead you.
No, it was all in my head.
And there's obviously something very much missing from here. We'll cover that when we get to the launch site.
They did move the chopsticks weight bag up by the We Build Better area. Now, it's not that important. It's over by the Starlinky building, I believe, where they.
The new torque tubes that have been moved. Is that what you're referring to? Yeah.
That and the load proof bar for the sticks.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that exciting, but yeah, they're just gathering up all the new hardware for the old sticks.
Promise I'll stop pointing out Cybertruck soon. I can't see the torque tubes. I can see
Yeah.
the...
Okay, yeah, Alex was just talking about that one. I hadn't done a deep dive to try and figure out where they moved those torque tubes to either. I was kind of just making an assumption of where he was going. That was
Yeah, I didn't even look for him, to be honest.
Okay, moving along. Let's see what's further along the front of the site.
All the new ship engine install platforms made an appearance again.
Oh yeah, over here. True. Hang on, the back a little bit further.
Yeah, between they're farther to the right. They're between the two curved domes on the right side. The painted ones. There's some additional unpainted ones being fabricated underneath there's a third one right there underneath the left tent.
Did flip the right angle there.
Yeah, I had missed that one from the other angle, but I know from the other angle you can see there's at least one unpainted one underneath the covers farther to the left as well. So they're steadily making progress on getting all those built up.
So expecting 3, 6, 9, 12 of them maybe. I'm not sure if the front right end stand needs them or not, but I guess it's got an elevator, so I guess it'll get the platforms for the elevator.
Yeah, and we've seen parts for 12, so to have parts for more than 3 stands would not make sense if they weren't going to put them on that fourth one as well.
True. This week, just quickly, we see they're taking up more room by building these platforms for the bays. I guess they're still for mega bays. I guess sooner or later we'll see a lot of this stuff. I'm imagining we'll see this stuff getting built outside for the gigabay, or more likely than them being assembled in situ in the gigabay. I imagine there's going to be hundreds of these for the new gigabay. Well, not hundreds, but a lot. They're everywhere. They're just breeding like flies. Okay, on to this QD arm. So there's a bit of crow for me this week. I guess over the last couple of weeks we've seen now they're using swivel joints after all. I had it in my head there wasn't enough room in here between the hinge line and this bar here for the swivels, but there they are. They've got the swivels in. They've got this one's actually... Oh, sorry.
So they're just mounting hardware. The swivel... The only one has a swivel joint right there.
Yeah.
The other's just a fixture.
Yeah, and actually this morning, the one that we see on the ground off to the side for the bottom one was actually installed this morning. We actually saw on Rover Cam this morning, they had sent some kind of cleaning device through that whole pipe via vacuum to actually clean that pipe out.
Yep. And this time I've got that right, haven't I? The tower one, the swivels are sort of sitting in midair, as these ones actually got some permanent structural mounting going on.
Yeah.
Which should help for endurance.
And there's definite signs that this is probably going to roll out this week, if not next, at the launch site.
Yeah, they're getting ready at the launch site to receive this and lift it.
Yeah. Of course, the completely useless inside on the top of frame, up in the little silver by the white door thing is the top of the extension.
I was going to say, is that the extension?
No, that's not for the top. Not the extension as in the wrist. The extension between what there is and the hinge.
I think that's for the wrist, actually, BJ. I don't think it's covering these, but you might be right.
Yeah, the angle, the mitered angles make more sense for going over the shoulder part of the over the top of the hinges on the right hand side.
Oh, over
Sweet.
here.
That's what I am pretty sure they go, but I
We'll
could be
see.
wrong.
Yes, absolutely. We'll see. Cool. I
Then
thought
they're not
that's a little tiny. That's a little tiny forklift. Everything's just big over here at Starbase.
Oh, there's another set of those weird stairs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've got that one, and then what? And I think there's actually like two more sets of them on that trailer when we get over to that side of the build site.
Oh, that's an old one still sitting there.
Oh,
Oh,
that's a lot.
over at the ring yard near St. Martin Boulevard.
Yeah. There's a number of them over there.
Cool.
They're gonna have a nice
Yeah.
little creek, and
Now the scrappage yard. I'll just move over a little bit. Speaking of scrapyard, and we'll get to that in a sec.
sure that's a scrapyard now.
Well, we're really hoping that's getting scrapped, that's for sure. This all looks like some old. Looks like the like you said, BJ, the old nose cone tiling stands.
Yeah, I think in the next few days, I need to go back and kind of look at it. I feel like that stand we'll see in that older tour video that Tim Dodd did with Elon that may prove that that's the stand I think it is.
Was.
Yeah, or was, yes, exactly. It's not.
It might not.
It still is. It's just in multiple pieces now.
Well, by the time we have confirmation, it might be all in the dumpsters. Hopefully.
Hey, we got Vix in chat. I wonder if Vix will finally get a gifted membership. Okie dokie. Some more of those stands getting built over here as well. Still a little stack of them there. Now moving around to booster 17. There is a crane here and it has extensions and it can probably reach the top of the booster. So there's some speculation that maybe they might yet cut maybe the methane tank, methane tank of booster 17. I don't think the crane, would you say, it was only like 70 ton, wasn't it? This crane can lift at its height.
Actually, it's quite a bit lower than that. I actually did the research after show and tell last night, but the boom we did see on Rocket Ranch Cam that it was up and actually lifted something small to or from one of those boosters. But this looks to be the FA 18 configuration. Essentially, it's actually an articulating lattice extension, but it's only good for they don't have a load chart for the articulating version, but the non-articulating version of this length is only good for 17 ton. So I think the scrapping in place idea is fairly unlikely unless they use skylifts and cut it chunk at a time off the top, as opposed to how we've seen them scrap boosters in the past.
How far does the main boom reach?
49 meters, I think.
Yeah, that doesn't.
That gets you to the common dome-ish. So we're like 70, the top we're probably 75 odd meters from the ground. Plus the load spreader, plus the hook
Clearance.
and the block.
Maybe they're just testing all their parts with pull the frisbee off.
And it is actually on transport stand. So one thought was they lift it up, cut the bottom, then move this, but yeah, that crane can't lift that much weight. So I think that's off the card. So maybe it's going to go into the the Mega Bay after all to get chopped up. I'm not actually sure what the crane's doing. Maybe they're just having like you said, BJ, they picked up some small things for the boosters, whatever. Anyhow, we'll keep an eye on that booster because that booster has no place anymore. I'm sorry, that sounds a bit harsh, but that's the reality of the situation.
Scrap all three.
And actually, I'll amend that. As I looked at the picture again, it actually the main boom actually does go higher than the booster. It's 74.8 meters. Because in the screenshot I grabbed, it can actually get over the top. Probably not with enough reach to get to the center of the article, which is why that extension's on it.
I have to get over the top of it. Yep, okay, yeah.
They're just trying out their new toy.
Yeah, it does seem like there's a little bit of that too.
So this little area here is nicely cleaned up. Looks like they've only got sort of basic, back to the basic necessities here. We may end up seeing the test stands back here, the crash stands back here, permanently stored down here perhaps. They seem to have little squares marked out for everything, and I can't quite park them in the right spot. They're kind of close. I said they need to run around with those little stickers saying, "You're not a very good car parker." We saw the, is it here? No, it's the 4-point lifters back in Mega Bay 2, and the ship, I'll come to that in a second actually. So we'll finish Sanchez. I think anything else to add to Sanchez?
Just how much they're finally getting rid of the V1 and 2 stuff from the inventory area.
Oh yeah, of course. Yep, doing a little bit of a clean up over here finally. I hope they're not start moving it to the new racks over yonder. But yeah, finally we're seeing a lot of stuff getting cleaned out of here. And how are we going for questions over there, Alex B?
Yeah, first off, a little bit of support from Astro Joe. He sent 1 gifted membership. And onto the questions. When will Booster 18 only have V3 engines? Yeah, it'll only have V3 engines. And then, will SpaceX need to recertify the Pad 1 chopsticks after modifications?
Pad 1 looks like the tower is going to get pretty much a gut job. Yes.
Yeah,
Alright.
it's going to need
And-
like the bigger cryo lines. There's quite a few changes we've noticed in the plumbing of Tower 2. So there's going to be, well, it's actually Tower 3, but anyway, Launch Mount 2's tower.
And finally, Flight 12 next month from Michael Latino.
January.
No. Yeah, nah. Yeah, nah, mate. Nah.
Elon months, yes.
Yeah, true. Geez, they can make this crane quite a bit bigger, can't they, BJ, still?
Yes, quite a bit. It actually, one of those. I think so. They can go probably another 24 meters taller than what we saw them build it the other day. Actually, 36, because one of those long sections was part of that configuration after the flyover yesterday.
Well, it's a sizable crane.
For that luffing part of the jib, or?
I'd have to review the exact size on how many of these extensions are for prior to the reducer and past the reducer, and really see what kind of options they have. But I think I would imagine that all of the segments they can be put into some form of a luffing, and it's not like it's an and or. It's probably a all type max.
Right.
Did you say this can swivel on top of the main boom?
Yes, if you look at that, if you look at the actually the crane is hooked up to it right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
That left piece is an articulating extension chunk. So yeah, so past the hydraulic boom, they can have some amount of lattice, then the articulation, and then another set past it to be able to kind of. It's essentially it gives you some additional reach, similar to a luffing jib, but it's not actually a luffing jib.
Right.
So up and down movement. So that like replaces, we see on other cranes, you have the mast and a set of cables and the, what do you call it? Instead, they've got just hydraulic rams in this one.
Yeah, and actually, we've seen it the Grove GHC 85 that's been doing all the outfitting in Mega Bay 2 actually has an articulating jib that's built on it too. We haven't really seen it move much, but it has actually moved on occasion.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry, Alex.
I wasn't good. That's all good. Let's keep moving.
Let's head over to the build site. So the weather was fantastic. You see there's no cloud shadows on the ground. It was a really beautiful day. There was a tiny bit of cloud near Brownsville, and during the live stream, we do a live stream on the day of the flight now as well, which is proving to be reasonably popular, which is nice to see. We saw some shadows on the clouds from an airplane. We saw a nice little round circular rainbow as well. It was really pretty to see. So, on to Gigabay. I haven't put these in order, so just bear with me for a sec. Let's start here. All right, BJ, away you go.
Lots of steel has gone up this week. It's been good to see all the tower cranes come online. It's a bit surprising that last one took probably 2 days longer than we expected. I think actually we saw it offload a column before it actually got its inspection process done, which was rather curious. But kind of working in the corner, kind of not doing that whole clockwise theory that I know Zach and I were talking about a couple weeks ago. It kind of seems a little haphazard. I think maybe the orders may start to make a little bit more sense, or maybe not. But as I kind of saw based off of the initial pieces, they've kind of moved. Tower Crane 2, as we're calling it, in the front right's moved over and working there in the middle. One of the most elaborate sections of steel construction. That middle row, wall has a lot of extra structure. Obviously, it's the middle of the structure, so it's gonna have the most going on. Up in the upper right-hand corner, they finally started on one of the exterior corner frames. The crane's kind of blocking it here, but you can even see they've started the elevator shaft framework within that little middle area.
Yep, cool.
But yeah, just by and large, it's just a lot of steel that the trucks have been coming in. I mean, we've been seeing a dozen or more columns delivered pretty much on a daily basis now, and I think we're going to see lots of ramping up. The biggest thing is waiting for the crawler crane to get out of the way to really get going. But yeah, here we can see the storage lot that is over at near Brownsville. We can see all the tower crane parts obviously are gone there, and this seems to be one of the two main sites for all the steel. It doesn't seem like the columns are kind of going away here. The rest of the base level columns seem to be at this site, and then the other site seems to be populating mostly with just the upper level columns these days. There's a few in there with base plates, so they're not totally gone, but this doesn't seem to be a site for any of the cross beams and brace work and all that kind of thing.
The verticals, yeah.
That one seems out of place, BJ.
Yeah, there's a few of them. Yeah, there's that. You got that.
Oh, yeah.
You got that one. There's I've learned to identify by how many bolts are in each one. So that's a 14 bolt, one gusset. I think I'm a little obsessed with watching the construction here at the Gigabay that I've nicknamed how to identify all the different pieces.
That one almost looks like the temporary for the factory side, the 14 bolt.
No, it's not. I'll be curious to see what we see on those temporary ones, but that one there has been a very common particular base plate, as well as the 20 bolt that was the previous one that Stephanie was highlighting, are a couple of the really common ones for corner plates, mostly for the corners, because in any given corner, there's usually only one of the two corners has brace work going in both directions, and the other one will just have it going in the third direction, essentially.
It's a tall, skinny one with a square plate. It's on the left side. There's a bunch. Are those the elevator, or are those the center?
The ones on the far left there, the one with the big gusset plate in the middle is actually just an inline post. And then the braces go down. The elevator ones are actually very narrow. They're only like a 4-inch tube, and they're only half the height. So the elevator columns, the one that Stephanie had her hand on earlier, was a different one right next to the tower. It wasn't actually the elevator shaft, although the elevator column was probably directly behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, the corner ones seem to have most of the gussets.
Yeah, and it all depends on which way they go, whether the gusset's originating from the ground and going up to the middle of the column, or if it's starting at the kind of the. It's interesting because there's a number of places where they follow a Z for kind of a Z shape as they go up, and then the other ones that kind of zigzag on an alternation, forming like Ks instead of Zs.
You don't sound
Yeah.
obsessed at all, BJ.
I'm way too. I mean, to be honest, when Frankencrane was at the launch site, that was my first even coming to any of the Starbase live streams. So my experience in coming here was not about the rockets; it was about the cranes and the construction. So that shouldn't be surprised that, as well as becoming really excited about Starship and the vehicles, the construction side still is something that really interests me too.
I can relate. Yeah, the mid towers or truss section towers are those at the ends are the parts that I'm more interested in. The outer walls.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you actually kind of scroll down, they haven't started putting the beams in there, but by the parking garage, they've really started to do that. We've seen the first exterior columns starting to go in, and this is some of the biggest ones, the biggest base plates that we're seeing in some of these ones where they've actually got their inlines on there, so you've got gussets going in 3 different directions. Those base plates are giant. They've got to be like 6 foot by 4 foot or something like that.
Oh, human for scale. Yeah. Wow, they are.
They're almost the size of a sheet of ply. I mean, it could be as much as 4 by 8. I mean, those sheets of plywood are nearly the same size.
There's one on the trailer to the top left.
Yeah, that's the third. That's the third. I believe that's the third one. There's 3 of them along that wall. It's hidden behind the garage, I think, in this image.
Yeah, those plates are.
Oh, gotcha.
From another angle, you can see it. I think that way, the truck that we saw, that one at the top. Or maybe it was offloaded, and it's one of those 3 or 4 that are sitting up by in the corner. But the third one with the really big plates was delivered. Yeah, it's the middle to the right. There's 3 darker columns up there. That's the third one, and you can see the big old piece of plywood just to the left edge at the perimeter. That is where that one will go. Farther to the left, down, right there. That's where that column will go, underneath that big old piece of plywood.
Yeah, those are. And the spine, like you're saying, is quite congested.
Yeah.
So we still see a difference between this wall and that outer wall, don't we?
Yeah, there actually, until we get up higher, there actually is no outer wall over on the right-hand side because of the open door pass-through, not door pass-through. So we'll probably see similar structure as the left side once they get up to above the Star Factory height. Or it could just be a single beam on the outside. I'm still kind of on the fence on how thick that kind of quote-unquote wall segment is going to be. I don't envision it having that full, I think it's about a 20 or a 24 foot wide corridor. I don't see it being that thick, mostly because it would go against my stacking theory of how those stands are going to work. So here in probably about a month, when they get up to the next level, we'll probably maybe start seeing some more evidence of how those workstand stacking cells are going to work.
Yeah. Yep. Till I see
And
gussets.
How many posts tall do you say this bay is going to be?
With using that 16-meter height that I believe these are, the math tells us there should be at least 9 if they remain this high all the way to the top. I think so. Once we get to the very top, I think we're still expecting a workspace, office space, whatever at the top, like the mega bays have. So it may only be 8 or 9 tall columns, and then the roof structure is going to be a truss structure of some sort to carry all the load. So some of the height won't be strictly columns.
So just looking over, I don't mean to do Alex B's job here, just quickly looking at chat. There was a question about how the columns attach to the concrete, BJ.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if there's any open pits right now, but essentially underneath this column, is obviously the pile cap that we were watching for all those days, for all those weeks. And then in that concrete slab, essentially there was 8-foot long bolts that were embedded into the concrete and secured to a plate that was down at the bottom of the slab that comes through, and then they essentially place that beam over all those bolts and connect it in there. And then those bolts would give them the ability to kind of true up that column so it's nice and plumb. A lot of that happens after they get the initial structure done. They'll put some guy wires in there to pull everything square and level and all that kind of thing, and then they'll lock it all down. And then going past the question initially, they'll go back and then fill that whole void. It'll get concrete grout down underneath the base plate to fill all the voids, make sure that plate is making a huge majority of contact nice and flat. We don't want any high spots because that'll damage the foundation underneath.
And
So they run is this those sort of plates where they run a nut on first, then put the plate on and a nut on top so they can adjust between the two nuts for the height?
and then the lower nut can deform so that you're not transferring a point load directly through the embed rods. So once they grout underneath, like BJ was saying, that the grout layer will support the weight, not the bolt between the base, the plate, and that they're using for leveling them.
Yep.
Sometimes they'll even use like nylon bolts, but yeah.
Okay, cool. So I don't mean to do your job there, Alex P. I just sort of noticed that question while we're here.
No problem. Do you want to run through some other questions?
For Gigabay, yeah, if we happen, yeah, while we're in Gigabay, why not? Just,
Yeah.
There's probably questions for other areas, but why not give us some Gigabay questions? Thanks.
Yeah, so we've got a $5 donation from Felix11. Are the dimensions of the Starbase Gigabay the same as at the Capes Gigabay?
I'll give that one to BJ.
Sorry, can you repeat that? I was about to type a response to one of Ziyazada's questions in
Are
chat.
are the dimensions of the Starbase Gigabay the same as the Capes Gigabay?
Yes, they should be identical.
Aren't they only building half of the Capes Gigabay at the moment, though?
Depends on the definition of build. I think that particular comment is more about the fact that right now they're only assembling half of the bay. Essentially, they've only got 2 tower cranes working, and they're only working the right half of the building right now.
Yeah.
However, the foundation and all the things are there to build exactly the same size bay.
And I've got a question that Stephanie will love from You Don't Need to Know. Are all the Cybertrucks general use for everyone, or were they gifts to each employees?
You get a Cybertruck, and you get a Cybertruck, and you get a Cybertruck. Probably just general use around the place. So replacing their internal combustion vehicles. That's, I think, one of the motivations. I mean, there's a lot of, talk about Cybertruck popularity, whatever. But so I think there's a major motivation on the financial side of things with tax breaks. You guys over in America have. Australia's similar with tax breaks for electrical vehicles as we go in the future. I think that's ending in America soon. So I think SpaceX took a bit of advantage of that.
Yeah, it's end of October. And also, I believe they opened a leasing program to their employees for some of the Cybertrucks as well.
Nice. Thanks, Alex.
Got another. Sorry, just got 2 more questions have just come through. A donation from Cameron Ryan for $10, and he asks, "How do we think the bridge cranes will work for Gigabay? Will there be one for both of the aisles, or is it possible that there will be lots working between in pairs of workstations?"
Give that one to BJ.
Yeah. I probably can't get it over. I actually have a diagram that I saw the question pop up and was about to try and get it to Stephanie to put in here using one of our diagrams. Let me see if I can get that in there. But the idea would be right now that the transfer aisles would have probably 2 450-ton cranes each. And then the stacking might have their own.
And since I need to use my keyboard to get this over to Stephanie, maybe.
Yeah, I'll take
I'm gonna
over.
let go, but let me try and get it over here real quick, and then I can show
are.
what my idea is for those of you
In
who are interested.
in the meantime, there's another question from Kai Nessel. Heard there's going to be 4 big doors like the VAB. Is that true?
Yes. There's going to be 4 of those sort of roll-up B doors like the current gigabays or megabays have.
Oh, there you are.
And that's it for Gigabay.
Okay, one
Yeah, and I just got
second.
Stephanie that image, so I think she'll be able to bring up with something a graphic that can support that I can better describe what I was just talking about. So this is kind of a little diagram that it's definitely not to scale, but kind of something that I had done in there. But essentially, the green lines, the green sections up in the top would be the 6 bridge cranes that I envision that each of the work stands will have. So that rectangle that's between the 2 lines, that would be the trolley that goes toward and away from the Star Factory, and then there would be a trolley on it that can go left and right within the bay, within its bay. And that those 6 would be there. They would only be there. They would be like side mounted to the partition walls, so that they would be below the main transfer aisle cranes. And then the blue cranes would be larger cranes that would be actually supported by the columns all the way at the roof. They can travel the entire length of each aisle. This particular configuration allows them to not only work in the aisle, but also work over all 12 of the, well, probably not all 12, it would be probably 10 out of the 12 aisles, because obviously you wouldn't be able to cross them over to work on themselves. I know there's some other theories out there that maybe that the green ones would actually go all the way across the aisle and be able to hit a workstation left and right. And then the blue ones would be narrower and be under. I don't fully understand it because it doesn't make sense to me. Not that it doesn't make sense to other people who have thought about how the different cranes, but not only having those ones that go all the way down the aisle, not also go over the top of the work stands, would really limit their capabilities in terms of moving things on and off of work stands.
Nice.
And yeah, they wouldn't be any wider, the bridge cranes, than the current ones, I think, in the current megabays.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I think we're going to be many months away until they get to the top of these top of the building before we can get any confirmation to anyone's theories on how the cranes will be working. But that's my personal opinion. I know there's some other concepts and ideas out there, so we'll find out in a while.
So I think we're both going to go to eat crow or not, because I'm in complete agreement so far with you, BJ, on this. So
One question's just come in. Tower Crane 3 is currently just spinning around seemingly non-stop in the wind. Why only one?
I think there's a malfunction going on that one. Even if it's weather vaning, it shouldn't be doing what it is. I saw the comment come in there, and I just pulled up the Sentinel cam on Lab Padres, and yeah, it's just going around like a carousel.
Oh, no, what in the world?
Yeah, that is not normal behavior of weather vaning. The weather vaning is, as I understand it from the documentation, it's a completely passive system. It actually, they disengage the slewing ring, and the boom itself acts as a weather vane, and it will move however the wind tells it to move. It's not a powered system. That's obviously powered rotation.
Yeah, especially if there's a wind, it wouldn't, weather vane into the wind, yeah. Maybe someone got bored. Maybe I don't know, maybe you got bored up there. It looks like all the other cranes, if one crane's malfunctioning, would they stop work on the other cranes as well, perhaps?
Yeah, except for they don't work on Sundays, so I think it's a malfunction because there shouldn't even be an operator in that cab right now.
Okay, cool, yeah.
awfully dizzy by now.
Yeah, I reckon.
As Hun is saying in the chat, you spin me right round, baby, right round.
Okay, somebody needs to take a timeout. Now
The
that song's
Gigabay,
back
how
on.
much how much taller is Gigabay to Megabay, BJ?
I think it's like 20 or 30 meters. I know this question came up the other day in some of the private chats, and I haven't even memorized what it is. I think it's like 100 meters versus 120. I don't know my conversions.
Isn't it? It's essentially, was it 2 more of those outer trusses on the mega base?
Yeah, it was
Yeah, roughly.
2 or 3. I think I don't think Mauricio's made it public, but I know a private Photoshop he had done. I think when he was asking me, I think it was three rungs that needed to be added. He because he had added one already, and I said 3, and he said, oh, so 2 more.
I think we can show that image. Hang on. A little bit of photoshopping here. Now, there's a little tiny error in this photoshopping is that the Gigabay won't have any of this external structure, obviously, but otherwise gives you a bit of an idea of its size, just as a sort of rough guess.
Yeah, and a quick Google search on this one. I don't think there's an exact known height of the megabay. Well, I'm sure that somebody has it, but a quick search says that gigabay or megabays are 95 to 100 meters tall, and 116 is the conversion for gigabay.
Won't the height be on the FAA
I think
notice?
it's 386 or around there.
Yes.
So
Yeah, for gigabay, it's known the FAA documents go offline after I think 6 or 9 months from the observed. What is it? The obstacle evaluation or whatever. So unless somebody had one saved, and I know I don't have the Megabay 1 or 2 documents saved in my records, so I don't have it.
Yeah.
yeah, the current one for Gigabay, it's I think 386 or 9.
Yep.
So
The
yeah,
crane
around
numbering, I think we've sort of made up a numbering of 1, 2, 3, and 5. I mean, BJ, I'm not sure there's an official numbering system for the cranes. It looks like this fourth crane is the one that's slewing, isn't it? This one back here.
Yes. Yeah. The FAA documents per the permits say that the back right is 1, and they go counterclockwise in numeric order. Within the Nerdle chat, we've kind of gone by the order of their starting of assembly. So it's 1 and 2 on the right, 3 in the back, 4 in the front on left. However, some people are going by completion order too. So there's a little bit of variance in some terminology references.
Of course. So Astro Joe was saying number 3 being the Nerdle numbering.
Yep.
Just getting some more questions in. Question from Fly Jake. Why not attach the Gigabay to the Star Factory?
We expect that gap to be closed in and be a pathway, and I think it will be. It's just not going to be connected at the same height as Gigabase, so you wouldn't actually set it right up against. We think that this breezeway, as some of us call it, will become a connection point for getting in there, whether they take the wall down and make it open space to the rest of the factory, or leave the doors and leave it as kind of just a pathway to get to the stacking stations. That's yet to be determined.
So they'll always be 2 separate buildings. They may just put like basically lean-to, isn't it, BJ, in between?
Yeah. I mean, one would argue that they kind of become one building, similar to how like the office was connected to the factory on the other side. It would be kind of a similar connection, but maybe a little less formal, I guess.
technically the office is just a mezzanine of the factory, architecturally and permitting.
And
Mr. Pedantic man here, sorry.
and one more question from Celeb Report. How much time is reduced in 39's build time with the tiles being fully pre-installed on the sections before rollout from Star Factory? I don't think it's reduced that much because obviously we've seen them roll out, large sections of ships before with most of the tiles pre-installed, but we know that they're changing their kind of procedures on installing tiles in between the sections mid-stack. So that could be or decreasing build time, but I believe Ryan's got all of the spreadsheets, but I believe he said yesterday that it's roughly on the same time as 38. So
Thank you. Getting a lot of thanks for BJ's crane knowledge in the chat. Cool. All right, let's move up to Gigabay there. Thank you everyone for your questions. And yeah, it's exciting development, and they're going quickly. I have a question, roughly, BJ, is this going to overtake Florida, do you think, in completion?
As I've said in some of the chats, it's going to depend on how you define bypass. Because they're going to be working the full footprint, I think overall percentage, it'll bypass it here very soon. However, I don't know that Starbase will ever be taller than the segment that it's already started in Florida, just because I think they're going to, as they continue, the height's going to continue to be the same distance. But since they have the head start on the second half of the building here at Starbase will probably be done sooner, but not necessarily be taller at any given point.
Cool, thank you. Okay, on to Megabay 1. So we still haven't seen them upgrading the second stand yet so much. It has got its new clamps on it, but nothing much changed in the background here. And we do have a picture this week of Booster 18, I believe. One of these side shots. I think we can just see Booster 18 in there. This photo, I can almost see it. 1 second. Oh, it's only a minor point anyway. So Booster 18's in here. It's fully stacked. So it's still got chines. It's got a fair way to go with raceways and chines and that before it rolls out to the masses for cryo testing. But yeah, it'll be, like I said, weeks rather than months we'll see Booster 18 come out.
Mauricio had a light and image that shows it slightly better.
Yeah, this one maybe.
It was in others, yeah.
Yeah, I've got them all together now.
Oh, that's where you went wrong.
Anywho, let's move on to Megabay 2. I just had a good image up. Hang on 1 sec. There we go. So Megabay 2, the test article 18 or 39.1 had come in here and received some more barrel sections the aft, I believe, and then I think it went to the rocket range for a bit, then came back in here, and now it's back in the staff factory.
Yeah, it never went there. It just went in here to stack, and then indeed went back to the factory.
Oh, so what went to the... Okay, there was something in chat went to the rocket garden. Maybe they were mistaken.
Yeah, it might have. I didn't see it, but that would not be an accurate statement.
Cool. Okay, thank you. So ship 39 proper here, sitting on the downcomer jig, and I'm pretty sure it's also now being lifted off this jig and sitting back on the turntable, awaiting it.
And that would be also right. I laugh at that because it's funny, because if you look in this picture, you can actually see up on the workstand, the center workstand, there is a block of wood sitting right there, and they have moved 39 is actually just floating and slightly sitting on that cribbing on top of the middle stand right now. It has not been moved back to the turntable.
Oh, what is going on there?
Yeah, it's been quite the comments section this morning, I think, across many of the communities that they haven't done that. But yeah, you can see right there sitting on top. I really don't think it's resting much weight on that wood cribbing, because it's still connected to the 4-point lifter. I think it's just there to prevent any kind of floating around while they're hanging it. But yeah, we can see actually this morning the transfer tube stand was taken back to the factory during the show just a couple minutes ago.
Has the aft section come out yet?
No, that it hasn't, and I'm wondering. It's almost making me wonder. If they may have it here because the aft section may get lifted up into the stand by itself by a crane instead of doing that tandem lift technique that they do with
Yeah.
all the other barrel sections.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm telling lies again by saying I thought it went over there. Okay, cool.
Seriously.
That's interesting. Thank you very much for correcting me. Okay, so let me see. We can hop over to the apartment block. Pretty well finished at the launch site now. I mean the
Launch site.
build site. Yeah, I know.
You mean the demo site?
Oh, the demo site. Yeah, we'll get to that in a sec for sure.
We'd hope they aren't launching anything from Mega Bay 1.
Say that again, sorry.
We'd hope they aren't launching anything from Mega Bay 1.
Yeah, actually, I can see the other turntables, the other workstations in here too. Doesn't look
Speak
like
for
the clamps
yourself,
have been
Alex.
changed on this one. They've taken the slides out though, looks like. Getting ready to put the clamps in. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
This photo, this is the one. So yeah, the apartment building, they're pulling, the last crane is getting disassembled. They've filled in all the little gaps here, and then it looks like they're working on this front area here. So where's another shot? I was going to find it of the other end of the building. I might not be able to find it in time. Oh, this one will do. So a lot of work going on. We can see the concrete's being poured mostly on the top of the actual units. Just got to pour some more concrete here. And in here, we can see the ramp here. They've got the cages in the windows here. And I can see where the cars go down to the next level down there. In this shot, we can see this one's better. We can see they're starting on internal structure. They appear to have poured all the concrete on the floors for these units at least. You can start seeing some internal structure going ahead and heaps of glass. And the hangars, it appears, BJ was saying, looks like the office, the Star Factory and office building glass.
Yeah, and actually, I don't think I noticed it last night, but it looks like the alignment jig that they use to place them is actually just to the left of the boom there, well, kind of behind the boom, where they're actually using, just like on the factory, they had hung like a frame that's got properly spaced mock-ups just above that. Higher,
Is that it?
it's up on the wall, actually. That might be another one, but you can see in there, that's right there, those two levels, you can see the vertical bars that are lining up with all the mounts.
Yep.
I thought they were doing a proper curtain wall, but
Now.
no. It's just usually for those spans, it's easier because the less panel ceilings, the less chance for leakage and noise and all sorts of good stuff.
Nothing's still here. And there was what we're looking at here, there's things from the other side of
the stairs right where your hand was is
one
one
those
set.
weird stand steps, yeah.
And then there's two more
Yeah,
a little bit further down.
Yeah, and I was wrong. For some reason, I thought that trailer had one, but that was just a handrail up there that probably is associated with one of them.
Those quarter rings, or the black ones right there, they look big.
12-meter booster.
Oh, yeah, they look like the kind of similar to what we've seen, the what would be 120 degree arcs for stands.
Yeah, for like the work stands type things.
The rest of the village is just chilling. They've finished all this work over here. I've not seen too much going on everywhere else. The Halloween stuff's obviously moved.
Is the white metal building with the triangle walkways, is that the new stores that they're building for on site?
Yeah, I believe that's the building that used to be like a security building or whatever, where that on-site grocery is.
Okay.
Very good. All right. So, any last questions for the build site there, Alex B? So, with that, let's go to the launch site. Or should I say, yeah, the scrap sites. So like we did with
Or
Shanto, we might start over at the scrap site.
yeah, I was gonna say we could tease them worse and look at Rio West really quick, but that's mean.
We'll see, we got time. There's not a lot to report on Rio West. Okay, so can we see the clamp? Yeah, that's part of the clamp up and down. Oh, excuse me. Ah, part of the clamp arm down there. I think there's bits of clamp arms in here as well. There's another shot actually, looking further down. Looks like they're just cutting a lot of stuff out and letting it fall. Stuff in here, so there's better shots here. Just give me a sec.
Yeah, as we commented during show and tell last night, I don't think many people had actually realized they did that. I bet all the live streams are probably going back through their their video archives to try and see if they can find one falling down through the middle of the mount.
Is that a smiling face they drew?
Yeah. Especially for us. Because we'd be the only ones that would see that. Well, I suppose there are other aerial photographies these days as well. So during show and tell, they had finished cutting, I think, this section out and lifting it out, leaving the inner wall in place and taking the outer wall with it.
Yeah, it's actually the one segment above it where the guy in the blue is sitting. Now that we had daybreak today, we were able to kind of actually see where it is. But that kind of that reinforced cabinet that's on that next section is still there in place yet. So
Cool.
I like how charred the inside of the BQD hood is.
Yeah, they definitely didn't stop plume getting in there. Look at the plumbing and everything's just frazzled.
They seriously took out some rage on that BQD.
Oh yeah, not only unbolting things delicately and saving stuff, they just fully butchered all the plumbing and took out all of the main frame of the BQD.
Well, would they even have been able to, like, unbolt it and then take it off carefully? Because I mean, wild theory, but could the BQD's base have melted to the like actual OLM too badly to remove easily?
Yeah, the base was welded, but the pipes and such, I mean, that unbolted the flex hoses when they did the ship static fires up here.
But yeah, definitely got charred inside, that's for sure. So we can see up to the side there some of the pieces that are being removed. We can see the actual BQD. Can't we over here? I think it is. It's part of the hood and part of the door and stuff. So there's a good shot. Oh, there's a good shot of the inside of the door. I remember when they put all this new stuff in the door to try and help protect the ports there. It was quite a while ago. Well, not that long ago, but yeah.
It looks like it fully validated Mr. Ryan Hansen's speculation on how those modifications worked.
Yes, I imagine the 3D artists are getting a little bit of information out of all this. So yeah, lots of chunks from the top protective layer. Well, sorry, the outer protective layer anyway.
interesting that on those that they've actually been using the load cells in the cranes to actually spray paint how much each of those weighs as they go. So as if they have to go pick them up again, they know what kind of limitations they need to account for.
So 22,000 pounds. So what's that, about 10 ton? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised they're not in tons, to be honest, but
3 tons. Yeah, looks about right. Yep. We'll get over to there in a sec. That's why we're here. We'll have a look around the tower and the chopsticks. So around the tower, well, obviously the dirt for the berm that's this dirt is well travelled. Looks like they're piling it up here now. Oh, look, they might just accidentally spill some over into the wetland. We were
They
joking
already
in
did.
Chantel. They already did.
Yeah. They've been hauling in some soil as well.
Of course, yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Someone said that as well, yep. Now, I don't think we mentioned this in last week's script that they've taken those blocks out there, but obviously it's happened.
That was 2 weeks ago, Steph.
Yeah, I
Asleep.
understand. Oh, maybe we said that 2 weeks ago in the script. Doesn't matter. So they've taken the actual drawworks out. I believe it's actually left the site.
Yeah, the
Indeed.
winch
Not
actually
sure.
went. Yeah, the winch went quite a ways. All the stuff for the dead end spool and whatnot is sitting in Sanchez.
Yeah. So any idea where they may take that? Maybe somewhere to get refurbed, I guess.
Yeah, that would be my guess. I'm not quite sure where that would end up happening, but refurbishment and then probably return and be installed on the new version of the structure seems likely to me.
So we're speculating they may remove this apron completely and create a new apron altogether. And I imagine they'll swing the drawworks back around this side like Pad 2's drawworks. Which may mean they may need to remove this staircase after all. Maybe there's room for the drawworks cable to go up beside the staircase. Maybe they do need to remove the staircase.
Yeah, it was actually just a comment that popped in my head too. That was a fresh comment that staircase may be either problematic to having it swapped, or it might be, or having it swapped would potentially mean that staircase does in fact go away. I hope it does, and I hope they could come back and put an internal one in so that it matches the other towers. Personally,
So yeah, very much so. Now there's a shot from the side for the chopsticks. Gives me a sec. I can see some of the markings they've marked on this one. You can see they've marked the chopsticks a little bit. I'm sort of guessing that's going to be a chop point. So through the week they've been removing the dampeners, and I thought some of the linkage. So there's speculation they'll take the landing rail out before they actually cut the chopsticks through here. I imagine a lot of this will come up, all the wiring. I imagine these sticks are going to get fairly well stripped back to their sort of bare steel, and then have all those new lovely covered cable trays and systems put in place and get rid of all this yucky stuff. We may see the travelling block removed, so that they may put the extra cables in. I think we've speculated it over the last couple of weeks about that, so we'll leave that one alone.
Looks like they're going to refinish the rails because they're mounting on those 4 window washing type platforms.
So maybe they'll get rid of the squeakage, or perhaps the rails are more worn than they're wearing out more than they expected.
They've modified the skates, or they've updated them. And yeah, they've refinished those at least once since they were installed. And who knows, they might unbolt them and replace them.
Daniel's asking, this winch was out of one of the oil rigs, wasn't it? Phoebus or Delmas.
Yeah, they're very common all over this area for the oil and gas industry.
Demas, sorry, I pronounced that wrong. So yeah, tower, pad decommissioning is going ahead nicely. I think by next week we may see quite a lot of this OLM disappeared, and then in the coming weeks we should see the legs disappear, and then eventually they'll start digging up cryo lines, and the plate and all this plumbing should go. All this should go soon as well. But in the interim, we'll go over to the actual tank farm. And yeah, quite a lot. We'll start over here. The berm's completely disappeared. A lot of these tanks have been removed. They're sitting just down here. Another angle will see them. And under here looks fairly well gutted. Underneath there as well. I didn't actually see that happening, but that's all seems to be gutted under there.
To the left, you can see a lot of the old water jacketed vaporizers. Let's think a little bit. Yeah, off to the frame behind the comms building. There's one of the pumps with the orange. Yeah. Right on the right side, racked up. Yeah, those are also old vaporizers.
Ah, the water ones, yep.
Yep, so water jacketed.
So they're similar to what's a Massey's, just obviously a lot smaller.
And they were using hot water, or almost like boiling baths, but not quite. Because those three pill tanks, they were all insulated because they had hot water in them, and they had the heaters over by the new tanks.
Over here,
Yeah, there's two black shipping container structures buried in there that had the water heaters.
The vaporizer system of the fan force vaporizer seemed like much more elegant solution for that job.
It was all space related because the big water tanks they had, they're hoping to basically use a passive system. They're like and just have it with natural convection, but those tanks didn't hold water very well.
Okay, onto the locks farm. It's been vastly stripped out. All the cutlery boilers have been removed too. Obviously, you're over at Massey's. All the pump systems, still a little bit of manifolding to go. We should still see some of these pipes just here will remain for now, being the main locks line. Maybe it'll come out. That main locks line may come out.
Should go bye-bye.
Should go bye-bye, yep. It's a nice bit of scrappage here. They don't seem to be keeping much. Perhaps they're keeping some of the manifolds. Where did I just see a manifold? Over here. Maybe they're going to reuse the manifolds because that seems to be a sort of standard thing with the hippos.
I think so. 6 ended up at McGregor.
With their manifolds?
Yeah, the 6 that. Yeah. The front row.
The front, yep, went to McGregor's, yep. So that's coming along nicely, that bit of scrappage. I don't see much change on the methane side this week.
They removed the scaffolding from the reboilers, and they're prepping the 2 east-west tanks for lifting.
Well, that one for now, then that's soon after this one. So they have their lifting points here. They're ready to attach the lifting rigs. Sorry.
Probably doing a quick inspection before they bring
inspection. Yeah. A bit of a dent here, thanks to remember Flight 1. It's a bit of concrete got thrown around. So that's pretty well pad scrap, as it's affectionately known recently. So I guess there'll be questions about what's going to be here in the future. We seem to get asked that a lot. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. I still think there's going to be a flame trench like pad 2 over here, and a refurbishment of the tower and sticks, and the QD. Obviously, the QD has to be removed and changed to the new system. Yeah, see, these swivels seem to be sitting in mid-air rather than actually attached anywhere solid. As the
Yeah,
new ones
we'd have to find another angle. I do believe I think they're connected to the tower as opposed to the arm. So I don't think that the swivels themselves are out in the middle of nowhere. But I guess you could maybe describe it as that. They're secured. They're just not secured in the same fashion as the new one.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
on. BJ's right. They're on struts.
Okay, yep.
So
Well, that actually makes more sense than what I was saying.
this shot might. There's a shot that shows it fairly. This one doesn't.
Yeah, I was struggling to find that view that kind of looks just far enough around the corner that the arm itself isn't blocking the view. That's the wrong tower.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. I knew that.
Okay.
No, I didn't. Never mind. It's only a minor point. Let's move along. That's not moving along. Let's move along further.
I'm just enjoying this view.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course you are. Yep. Same. Very much so. Okay, a little bit of groundwork going on here. Not a lot, really, at this part of the farm.
For the booster, where the ship pump tests are kind of amusing because have already disconnected them and back.
Back in here.
Yeah, if you look right where your hand is, Steph, there's.
Were the ship ones ever connected, Alex? Because we've noticed on a few occasions that the ship ones hadn't yet been connected, or at least to my memory.
I thought one of the tests, the ship side got all frosty on at least the pump section. I could be, which they still could do. They could have that plated off, and it just swings through that manifold.
Because we've only seen these pumps frosty, haven't we? The actual booster pumps last week.
Yeah, there might have been some other tests earlier quite a bit farther ago that might have been more of them. But yeah, I don't have a very good recollection of what tests and how many they actually did.
I thought Darth was saying that this week they were testing some of the ship pumps, but now it's turning into a bad game of telephone.
Very good. So the roof is a bit tidier this week. It was a bit messy last week, but this week it's starting to get a bit more tidied up. That was further back. Just let me quickly jump back for a second, because we've got to mention the pretty trees, don't we? Oh, the pretty trees along Highway 4. I think there's already been one or two named Ernie and Bert, just in respect to old Ernie and Bert from the parking lot. Now, where was I? Back here.
Why is a high pressure vaporizer not squared up?
Because it never has been.
But why? Why, BJ? Why does they do this to us?
To bother you especially, I bet.
You and Jake, especially. This building, I'm still eating crow over this, but they've painted this section, added more section of a block wall. So for now, it sort of looks like they are going to reuse it. I've been harping on for months that that's definitely disappearing, but then yeah, we'll see.
It's
May
still good.
disappear yet. I haven't lost hope yet.
So you're saying there's still a chance?
What? A photo with no Cybertrucks? What's going on?
Hallelujah. Well, we're about to go
Okay.
to a big Cybertruck.
Back to the middle section. No, it's not the middle section. Let's go over here a bit. Not a lot of change in the middle section. I mean, over here, there's been a little bit of change. We've got the photo for there. Only change, that's not the best photo. The only change I've seen, maybe it was last week, but they seem to be adding a lot more of the pipes going through to the
The potable water riser is in the lower right corner of the H-frame. Right. Yeah, if you zoom in there, you'll see it's blue, it has some valves on top of it right by the green, right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it has
From over here, from the valve assembly over here.
yeah, they have the pressure test assembly on it.
Here.
Yep.
Oh, they poured that drain. It's got this one to go. That's why we're there. I like the way they built this berm and this pile of dirt and used the container here as a retainer wall, basically. There's
Yeah,
still
better
some
than yeah,
decent-
better than burying the electrical cable spools.
True. Yeah, like they've done here. They seem to be doing something in here as well.
Yeah, I couldn't quite make
Okay.
out. I couldn't make out what they were doing either. I had noticed that similarly last night.
I'm gonna go with drainage or also water because there's a white pipe coming out of. Of course, the sticks are blocking it.
Yeah, there was a pipe over there, yeah. They can see it just there.
Yeah. So it looks like
Okay,
water.
let's go to pad 2. So I guess the big item this week is the what are you calling it, Alex? The
It's a structural load test for proofing. More than
so on
likely,
the bottom 4 points, there's a receptacle for the sphere and the beak. So it's
The
clamped in those 4 corners. The ball, yeah. So it's clamped in those 4 corners, and then there's another receptacle for the clamps. We can almost see it in here, where it's clamped onto the T section, which is then moved with these rams. And whether
reaction
they
beams.
push down on these and pull on this, or pull on these and push down on that, somehow they're getting load on the. You're saying more about the linkages, Alex, than the
Linkage.
actual arms.
Yeah. Yeah, they're proofing the linkages for binding. And up to probably, I don't know, 20, 50%. What's a maximum expected load? Any more, and then they're going to be pushing on the arms more, and then you're dealing with deflection. Because the whole reaction frames that it's all set to, you don't want any deflection in there. You only want the deflection on the portion that you're actually testing.
Okay, so no one really guessed that this was what this frame was going to be. When normally someone will guess, at least Fluke could guess that that's what it's for. But yeah, no one seemed to have had that one on their bingo card. But as soon as it turned into launch site, a lot of people started tweaking, especially once I think Starship Gazer released some photos in his Patreon lounge. It became fairly clear once we saw the end here, we sort of became clear that they were receptacles for the clamps.
My test cache shows something different, but I didn't vocalize it except in a secret Discord channel. But yeah, then it's like, oh, chopstick or Starlink box. So I have some tasty crow on the smoker right now.
What's Crayman showing me? Oh, I see. I'll go back to that in a second. Okay.
The wacky in this picture, if you look on the top of the QD hoods.
Yeah, I've got this weird frame beam welded on the top of the hoods here, and then they got these weird little reflectors or whatever, these weird little plates on weird angles that don't really seem to, like that one seems to be pointing to the center, that one is not.
Yeah, it almost looks like right now, if you were to, the intersection almost looks like it's like if you were to draw a beam and have a booster sitting on there, it's almost like it hits the booster at the same spot. So it's kind of going to the middle, but not.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like almost like where the QD hit, where the QD would made up to the booster or something. It's definitely a slightly different angle, but they come together at what might be a common point to the vehicle.
Yeah. But, I
Yeah,
mean, you wouldn't think that'd stay there for a launch, would you, BJ?
No, I think it's got to be some kind of survey. Obviously, given the fact that they're a reflective plate of some, that they're surveying some kind of positioning. But yeah, the third one in the middle is the one that's really interesting because it doesn't seem to correlate to anything that makes sense to me. It's like 90 degrees to the opposite. It's like if you look at the inline of the plate, it almost goes to the same point of the other QD where the other two meet each other, but
Oh, yeah.
that's only a rough guess. It's quite odd.
yeah.
Yeah.
And those plates are bolted on from the. Yeah, because they're not really accessible for. I don't know where their survey targets.
Yeah, it's
They'll
like
put the scaffold up. Oh, sorry, BJ.
yeah, it's just like on there. If they were turned 180 degrees, like the four of them, if they were reflecting to the middle of the mount, where you could set up something where you could set like a survey point wherever that intersection is, it would make sense. But it's like, okay, the laser's coming from somewhere out in the middle of nowhere.
Maybe it's
Right.
something to do with the this test rig here. Maybe there's going to be something mounted on here as well, perhaps.
That's all. It's rigged up with load cells.
It is very much, yeah. And those little side rams. Is it on this side? The other side, little side rams.
Yeah, for stabilizing the load beam.
The load beam, yeah. Oh, the load beam, calling this bit the load beam.
It's what it's. I mean, it's a reaction beam or a load beam, depending on your verbiage, and it's a reaction frame or a load frame, also depending.
So just quickly here too, these holes here have been a question over the last forever since we saw this get welded together with the roll, the OLM rollout at 39A. Notice that these are actually closed in, so I guess we can expect to see that here too.
Yeah.
Which I imagine they were going to be closed in all along. The other thing I noticed on the Florida OLM, they got this manifold here correct and didn't do that weird shuffle along and miss a hole or whatever it was that happened over there.
Well, they also use the same size interconnect pipes. They're not alternating.
Yeah. Okay, quickly while we're here.
Yum, 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 yum.
Got some questions for Pad 2.
Sure.
So, first off from Hashid, what type of test was conducted on top of Pad 2 last week? I think they're
There
referring
was.
to gas.
So, go ahead, Alex.
I think they're referring to the gas, the purge.
Yeah, they were pressurizing the system with gas, essentially.
And
Just quickly back at the tank farm, at the water tank farm, which means this last set of 3 tanks here were pressurized with, I'm guessing, with the gas generators here, the little mini Raptors, or whatever you want to call them. So this whole system now is obviously able to be pressurized and ran. Thanks, Alex.
so yeah, and another question from Crane Man. It looks like they are welding metal strips over the wide, corroded vertical seams between the cladding plates on the sloped Pad B GSE gantry. So
Yeah,
I'm not
I'll
sure if
get
that was
to
a
that
question.
I'll jump over that side in a second. Just quickly while we're here, just want to cover something over here quickly first. Talking about nom and whatever. I mean, quickly first, they've painted this edge and it's really nice. We can actually see the legs and the OLM still in here. Now, what we're referring about yum num 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 was I was expecting steel plates in here because of the little steel bars sticking up, but it appears BJ might be right, and they're not putting steel in here after all. Okay, now to swing around to what Crane Man was talking about, let's give you one of those other side shots. This one should do. I've probably got a closer one, but this one will do for now. Hang on, here's one. There's so many shots of this side of the launch mount. So yeah, they're adding strips here over where they welded the plates onto the. So behind here we can see the beams in behind there, and then they welded these plates on the surface. So they're putting some strips over here, over the joins, and we'll see the same sort of strips over here on those massive gaps that were annoying people. Kind of things. It's just while we're on this side, it's looking nice and finished. They did in fact install massive doors. I think last week Chantal, I was speculating these triangles. We're going to fill in these triangles on the sides here, and it looks like that's what's going to happen. These doors are massive.
Yeah, and you can see in this angle, you can actually see that bar on the end that has all of the like almost bank vault style locking pins that'll secure it in place when it's closed.
Certainly not going anywhere in a hurry, that's for sure. I guess this would be powered, wouldn't it? Those doors as well be powered. Have hydraulic actuators to open them, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think anyway. I don't.
Okay, let me go back to that other shot.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. I couldn't recall if I actually had seen it in any of the aerial photos. I think I did see it in some of the ground photos that it was back there.
Okay, cool. Yep. Enough. We've seen them open and close this door a couple of times, I believe. Look at the big pins here. This thing is solid as. So this goes back to Alex was saying all the way along. I agreed with him too. There's always going to be doors in here. Something that was confusing people was the renders show this as just black squares, and I think a lot of people were thinking these may be left open, but in Alex's mind, you thought that was a bit ridiculous, yeah?
Yeah, and the renders also had the LOX hood not dropping down as far as it did. It didn't have any of the vents.
So showing the renders aren't always 100% accurate. But even though the renders had these as black squares, it didn't show that they weren't doors. I still figured they could be doors.
Anybody who's worked in advertising, in post-production, the people making the graphics are not engineers. We greatly simplify any of the CAD data we get.
Sure, yeah.
I can speak of the horrors of CAD point clouds, transferring them into Maya or Houdini.
So through the week, we also saw another water test. So with all of the cladding, scaffolding, from this side, all the scaffolding's out from underneath. Not sure about our theory over here, Alex. We'll see about that in the future.
Do you actually have a value system question?
Sure.
Liam Donald asks, the pipes that make up the flame bucket, are they closed or open at the ends?
They're closed. The ends, if you look carefully, those were welded to the ends. You can vaguely make out from some of the scenes or shots, there's a seam line.
They're like blocked off sort of back here, and then there's just a little bit of extension tube welded on the ends. And that last shot, I sure actually you could see over the side here, you could actually see the end cap still.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just for mounting it to the, because there's a embed going across right across that gap where it steps down. But that one actually shows the weld mark about 6 inches or 6 to 8 inches in, yeah, of the actual pipe. And a great shot. See the sump covers.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
a great image of it.
Still
thanks,
wondering if
Alex.
they're going to close that off.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I thought when you said covers, I thought that's what you were talking about, actually covering them, but no, just those little round cups. So this while we're here, so these vents have got their little side panels welded onto this week. So again, things are getting sort of finalised with this whole launch mount. Still quite a few fiddly things to do, I guess. It's always the last sort of few fiddly things can take a lot of time on these sort of constructions. Okay, and so any more questions there, Alex B?
Nope, all clear.
So, BJ, can you think of anything we haven't covered on the launch site?
We could, if we can find that backside of the of Tower 2, you can kind of see it in here, but we talked about it earlier, how the SQD's lift is relatively imminent, but the lifting hardware has been staged by the tower, and actually a couple airlines are installed. But essentially the same, it may be the same company, at least it's the same, the rental company that supplied all of the hoists that were used for doing the chopsticks, Bishop Lifting, has started to deliver stuff to get ready to put that QD arm up onto the tower. And we can see just above, there's two yellow airlines that are actually going up to the hinge points up on the tower in preparation for some of that installation work.
So the air is to do with these are pneumatic power. Powered chain blocks to adjust the load. Yeah.
Yeah, both of those are. I'm a bit curious on what the air hoses need to go up there for, because one of them stops at the lower hinge point, and the other one goes to what would become the top hinge point of this installation. So I don't know if that's related to the actual lift, or if it's, well, actually that other one on the left in this image, it actually does go higher. I thought last night I saw it stop at the bottom. So I don't know if it had, I would imagine it probably has to do with the fact it's probably just a secondary airline so that they can level it off down at the ground to at least close, and then they'll lift it up, and then they may hook it up to a secondary air hose to the hoist up at the top to do that final leveling to make sure that they can get the hinge points lined up appropriately.
Yeah, I was wondering how they would do the pin. The pin
Quickly
pusher.
while we're here, they haven't got the cryo across here yet.
I mean, there's on the legs, the cross member, they have some of the mounting points.
I like there.
Right there. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
they're
and you
starting
can
to work on that. Yeah.
And the lower one is further down. You can barely see it peeking out with the scaffold tower. Those they can attach after it's in place, because they're going to have to bolt it to the swivel.
Yeah, that image actually had a really good view. I know a few weeks ago we were trying to kind of find a good view, but the scaffold's in the way you can actually see up by the actuator point. You can see one of the flanges for where one of the cryo lines actually hooks up, and then the other one is still hidden. It's one level down from
It's
the same place.
The shiny bit on the lower level of the scaffolding.
Yeah, I think you see the corner of it there.